Jesus told those who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you keep yourselves faithful to my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." "We are descendants of Abraham," they responded. "We have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean that you will make us free?" Jesus answered, "I'm telling you the truth. Everyone who lives in sin is a slave to sin." How many lies have we believed during our life? Have you ever thought about it? Jesus approaches the experts of the law at a certain moment to talk about the truth. He would tell them that knowing the truth would lead them to be free. They began to say, "We are Abraham's children. We have never been slaves to anyone." And precisely at that moment, they were slaves to the Romans because they were restrained to the Roman Empire. What am I getting at? How many lies have we believed in life? But our arrogance does not let us recognize that everything we believed was simply a lie. We prefer to remain in that lie and hold on to it all the time than accepting the truth and be free. Do you know why? Because I think it's easier to be a slave than be free. Because when you are a slave, you only do your share and ignore reality. You run away from reality. It's better to believe in this than to believe in that. But when you are free, you must be responsible for your thoughts and for the decisions you make. It is hard to live in freedom because we have become accustomed to living in slavery. And one of man's greatest slavery nowadays is to be subjected to lies. We have lived a life full of lies, and we have believed them. We have lived in a fantasy world, and everything we talked about is also a lie. Even when we were little, there are lies that had been planted in us, and we grew up with them to the point of considering them part of us. And nowadays, we are the reflection of those lies which we kept and treasure like a truth in our heart. This is the reason Jesus would tell them, the only way you can be free is by receiving the truth. And the truth is that everybody who engages in sin is a slave to sin. Everybody who engages in lying is a slave to lies. I am a slave to whatever I practice and to what I believe. And if I accept a lie and I believe it, it becomes slavery to me. I am a slave to a lie, not a truth. Which has been the great problem? That we have lived a lie as if it were a truth, and we live carrying curses. We live bewildered, always in the same place. We don't grow. We don't move forward. We cannot move ahead because we accept something in our mind which we consider to be our very own. And if it were a truth, but in reality, it was a lie. I don't understand. I'm going to give you an example. Each time you made a mistake when you were a child, they always told you, "You are a fool. You are stupid. You live making mistakes, and you will be like this for the rest of your life. You will make mistakes forever. You are careless, and you are a good for nothing." All of this was imprinted in your heart because obviously it was told to you by persons who were important to you. A lie which the enemy fabricated to destroy you, and not only to destroy your childhood, but also your present. You might seem clumsy in what you do. You don't seem to be able to concentrate. You don't move your projects forward because you are simply afraid. since what they planted in your heart stays there and does not allow you to move forward. You will never be happy, are words to which you open the doors of your heart, a lie which you believe. Maybe a person told you, if you are not happy with me, you will not be happy with anyone else. And to this day, it has been like this, because those words had power. Why do you think it happened? Could it be because that person was a prophet? No, simply because you believed it. You kept it in your heart and you became slave to it up to this day, and you have not been able to be happy. Perhaps you say to me, but I already have Christ in my heart, and I go to church and I congregate. But how are your days like? Your days are dark, full of fear, hoping to move forward, but you never go forward. Hoping for something different, but you always settle for the same. Don't tell me that it hasn't happened to you, because I believe you have experienced that again and again, and God has wanted to make you free. God has wanted to show you the correct path, but you are so glued to the lie that you are a full-time slave. This reminds me of the story about the elephant in the circus. I believe you already have heard it, haven't you? An elephant who, since he was little, was captured by the circus and entered captivity. So, he wouldn't escape, and to dominate him, in between meals, they would tie his hind legs with chains to a stake. When he was little, he tries to escape many times. But obviously he couldn't because he was little. As he kept growing, as time kept going by, he kept growing, and the chains kept getting smaller, and the stake kept getting smaller. But he had gotten accustomed to remaining there. To him, the chains and the stake would only remind him that he would never be free and that he could never leave that place. When he got big and old, he only moved from one side to the other. He never attempted to escape again. He resigned himself. He believed a lie. It's awful how we see ourselves reflected here. Just like the scholars of the law, the Pharisees of that time said, we are not slaves, but we're slaves to Rome, we are right to such an arrogant point, and we reach such a strong point of slavery that we consider that we deserve the life we are living, that it is correct, but in reality is not the truth. This is why Jesus said to them that the only way to be free of that slavery, of those lies, is to run toward the truth. But if you do not accept that there is a truth, and I'm not talking to you about a philosophical truth, because I could get philosophical with you and talk to you about a relative truth and an absolute truth. But it's not about this kind of truth. I could tell you that each person has a truth, and according to the way he was raised, he sees life from that perspective, and that is his truth, although for me it is not. However, for something to be true, it must be tested and found that it could not be modified. Something which is modified was never true. When there is a hypothesis and that hypothesis tests differently, then it was never true. Let me tell you that the only thing that has remained across the centuries is God and His Word, and in it there are no contradictions. It is the truth. Christ is the life, the way, and the truth. And when I approach God, I begin to truly know His plans and purposes for me, and I begin to take off those blindfolds full of lies. believing what your parents once told you. Do you remember? You are good for nothing. Or perhaps they told you at some point you were not going to succeed. Maybe they cut off your wings and told you you were poor. You were not going to make it. Don't set high expectations for yourself. Get used to little because you are never going to get anywhere. Or perhaps they told you you are stupid, or your siblings are better than you, or I don't know why you were born. You know you are a good for nothing. You are lazy and a crook. Each word you received, each lie you accepted as truth, made you a slave. Woman, each word that man told you each time he abused you, like you were worthless, you were a nobody, you embraced that lie as if it were true, and this is finishing you up. When the serpent talked to Eve in Genesis at the beginning, he told her a lie and a half-truth. I consider a half-truth to be a complete lie. The serpent told Eve, you will not die, but you will live and be like God. Eve embraced this lie as if it were a truth, and when she sinned, the first thing she brought to her life was death. What lies are you believing today? There are also lies which we received from doctors. A disease which can be treated and which God can heal because it becomes impossible for the medical field, to the point that they give you a few days to live. You embrace that lie and make it part of your life. There are people who feel a light pain and they receive a diagnosis that may be wrong, without exams, without anything. And when they receive those words from a doctor, they believe them, embrace the lie, and before they know it, they end up sick. They never had that disease, but they embraced it. I am a slave to what I embrace. I am a slave to what I respect. I am a slave to what I decide to believe. God has given us faith. The problem is that we use it wrong. It's not that we don't believe. It's not that you don't believe that God can heal you. Rather, it's that you believed you were sick and you were going to die of it. What lies are you embracing today? Today, through this word, I ask the Lord that He opens your understanding and the eyes of your heart, so we could understand today that God makes new things and the truth is in Him. The truth about what you were created for. Perhaps you say, but they are right. I was born into a dysfunctional home. I was born poor. I can stand up. I will never be somebody. Because the first thing we see when we receive a lie are limitations in each side. It is as though you were placed in jail and you can't see beyond the bars. But today, you know. Today, God wants to return to you your purpose and make you see that what you believed all the time was a lie. It was not a truth. It was not a truth. In a few words, the Lord comes and opens your cell's door and says to you, come out. If you believe in me, I am going to show you which is the truth. And that truth, once you know it, is going to set you free. My dear friend who is listening to me through this audio, son, daughter, husband, wife, I don't know what customs you have, where you were raised, or the environment you were raised in. The only thing I know is that there is a big, powerful God who wants to give you back your life. But we need you to understand the truth, and to understand the truth, we have to first understand and recognize how many lies we embrace in life. The world tried to blind you. The conditions, reality tried to kill your faith. But if you are receiving this word today, I want to tell you with certainty and safety that while there is life, there is hope. Father, my petition tonight, or already this morning, is that you can open up the understanding of many. May them see that what they embraced as a truth and made it into a prototype of life, in reality was a lie. Today I ask you that you bring freedom, Lord, and that each blindfold be taken off their eyes, and that this freedom brings life, an abundant life. For your love and for your mercy, that everyone who is receiving this audio at this moment, receive that freedom, receive that truth, receive that sanity in the name of Jesus, so they can live again. Father, thank you. This was a translation from the sermon delivered by your pastor and friend, Elias Hoyos. He sends you a special hug, and he wishes that God continues blessing you. God always arrives just in time.